friends, this is Anna Bruno, and I'm here with Mr. Mathew Zein. And so you should ask, why here? What are we doing here? And the answer to that question will come to you soon. The purpose of today's conversation, talk, interview is for us to understand why would somebody of non-Armenian origin who knew nothing about Armenia has chosen not only to move his business here, but also to move his life here and to move to Armenia and to live in Armenia. And then we'll further talk about the specific cities of Armenia. So, with further ado, I want to introduce you to Mathew Zein. Hello, dear Matthew. Thank you. And obviously, we had a chance to talk. We've gotten to know each other a little bit. But the burning question in my mind and in a lot of people's minds would be, why Armenia? What brought you here? So tell us a little bit about your background, the countries that you have visited, what kind of sensation and what you have experienced, and then of all the different places in this beautiful planet that you have been, why you have chosen Armenia to call home.
So first of all, thank you so much for this conversation. And let me start by introducing what kind of lifestyle I have. So I'm a digital nomad. I work as a writer. I travel the world. I lived in different places, different cities with my wife. And we haven't thought about Armenia or ever knew about Armenia before. I used to live in China. I spent a good time there. I worked there as a writer. And then I moved to Dubai. And from Dubai, we were on the way to other places when a friend of ours invited us to Armenia. By that time, it was 2017, in April, we knew nothing about the country. We have never even thought about traveling here. And we had, maybe like some ideas, wrong ideas. Maybe it's like some underdeveloped country, small country, why would we go there? But since we had a friend, we were like, okay, let's spend a week there. That week, 7 days, turned to be 7 years.
Wow.
We came here in 2017 and we decided to stay. It was like something we just decided on the first day. The sensation we got, everything. We walked in the Northern Avenue in Yerevan, and the first thing my wife said, do you think we can live in here? That was something she said right away, do you think we can live in here? And I said, I don't know, I have to check the taxes, some legal issues, some residency issues. I have to question some people, and we asked the questions, we checked everything around, and there are some things that you find out about right away when you arrive in Armenia, which is shocking in a positive way, and there are some things you find out later. So,
for example, tell me what was so obvious to you right away, and what was it that came to you later? I'm just curious.
First things is how affordable the country is. It's a small country, a welcoming one. People are so nice, weather is good, people are happy, welcoming. That's something you feel when you meet people on the street. And affordability, of course, is a big aspect of it. And when we decided to stay, we were like, okay, so since I work remotely, do they have good internet connection? What about the utilities, electricity? Everything was great. Stable internet, stable electricity, good services, very affordable prices.
And also safe, I would say, right? The
safety is something when you start living here, you start sensing what it means to be safe. So for example, in Yerevan, when my wife goes out for a walk, she might go out after midnight sometimes with her friends, just to walk around the city. In other places, we never done that. We always go before that time. In here, it's safe. Schools are safe. Those are things you start discovering later when time moves by. It's okay, so schools are safe, the place is a safe place. What about having a family? And that was the biggest change in our lives, because we have been married for 10 years, but my wife never said yes to having a child. She was always if you are going to keep nomading from one place to another and traveling, this is not stable life. And I'm not going to bring a child to an unstable life. When we arrived in Armenia, we spent some considerable time first. We established some life here, we got to meet people, networking, doing some business with people, and she said, if you're still considering to have a child, now I'm open to the idea. I would love to have a child here. And these are the things that you find out about later. So what are those things? Number one, as you mentioned, safety. Safety in schools, safety on the street. There is this level of safety that In many other parts of the world, and I would say even in first world countries, you cannot have this level of safety. Because as someone like told me, in Armenia, everyone is your kid's parents. So if you're with your kid on the street and everyone will care about your kid, you will not be afraid of someone kidnapping your kid. So that's number one, safety. Number two was the balance between being a free country and a conservative one. So when I'm having a family here, I want my kid growing up to date, to love, to kiss, to dance, to have all those like emotions. But again, it's under some limits. And that's something that's bringing a lot of international travelers to Armenia. It's the amount of conservativeness, or let's say the balance between being a conservative country and a free one. So people get to do or get to live both experiences under some limits.
That's wonderful you say that, and that's very interesting because I never thought of Armenia that way, that it's a balance. And I will tell you, coming from someone who was born here and I grew up here, Armenia has changed a lot in the last 30 years. It used to be actually a lot more conservative, and I think with the advent of the internet and digitalism and so on, I think it has opened up the country, especially for the newer generation. I'm always amazed to see how well versed they are and how knowledgeable they are about the world, about what's going on outside of Armenia. And I'm so happy to see so many people from different countries coming for tourism or for work. So that's a really great point that you're making, that there is this beautiful combination of freedom and conservatism sort of combined together. And then I guess at the end of the day, you decide what works for you. So you have sort of the best of both worlds, right? You have the best of both. That's really nice.
For some people, this is not the destination they're looking for. They want someplace either like very free or very conservative. For others, this is the perfect destination. And I met Americans, Canadians, non-Armenians by the way, who traveled to Armenia only for this reason. They were like, we were searching for a place where we can raise a family under those boundaries. And we found Armenia by coincidence, and they relocated here.